So over the past year, there's been an incredible amount of hype over the metaverse and different metaverse-related assets. We've seen companies like Facebook change their name to Meta, Oculus was the #1 most downloaded app this Christmas, and NFTs basically took over the world for a time. And one type of metaverse asset has really taken the crypto world by storm, and that's metaverse land. There are hundreds of different companies selling their own virtual pieces of real estate, claiming that these virtual pieces of real estate are going to be worth millions of dollars in the future because you're going to be owning a piece of, this really important asset that's going to take off in the metaverse. My question is, in the future, will these pieces of virtual land really be worth anything at all? I've seen countless companies whip together different 3D models, throw it on the blockchain, and then call it metaverse land. I've even seen companies where they'll take satellite imagery and then they'll kind of like block it off and say, hey, you can own a piece of New York, or you could own a piece of San Francisco and in the metaverse, because we're going to build an entire metaverse platform off of this satellite imagery that we've taken. And some people are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for this digital land, but the truth is that 99% of this metaverse land in the future is gonna end up being worthless. That isn't, of course, to say that all of it will. I believe that there is gonna be some metaverse land or digital real estate that is gonna be worth millions, possibly billions of dollars in the future, but it's about not just picking any old piece of digital land, but picking the right piece of digital land. And to help us kind of figure out what metaverse land is gonna actually be worth money in the future and what's gonna be worth nothing in the future, let's take a look at the original digital real estate, and that's websites. Back in the early 90s, an almost identical digital land grab was happening with websites. People were paying an absurd amount of money for domain names or space on certain websites. What they didn't understand back then was that space on any random website would be worthless in the future. But if they would have somehow been able to buy a small amount of space on the homepage of Amazon, where they somehow arrange some crazy deal where they're like, hey, we're gonna own a small portion of your homepage for like all time. If they would have somehow been able to do that, even just a tiny space on the homepage of Amazon would likely today be worth millions of dollars. And of course, the difference is that any old website doesn't have any sort of traffic or adoption, but Amazon, grew up and became one of the most heavily trafficked websites on the planet. And so, with a lot of eyes on it and a lot of people visiting it, it has a ton of value because it has a ton of adoption. The same is likely going to be true for metaverse land. Just because somebody is saying, hey, here's this metaverse land, come and buy it, it's gonna be worth a ton of money in the future, doesn't mean it's gonna actually have any value or utility in the future. But what the key metric is going to be that's gonna make, one piece of land valuable where another piece of land is gonna be worthless is going to be adoption and traffic. If that land in that game or that universe ends up, having a lot of adoption and traffic in the future, then it likely will be that piece of metaverse land that you buy will be hugely valuable in the future. So the focus when buying up the different pieces of metaverse land should be on whether or not you think that game or that space in the future will gain adoption, why or why not, and based on that, you should make your investment. So that's exactly what I'm gauging when I'm deciding to buy metaverse land is this game or platform in the future going to continue to gain adoption? Do I believe in this platform? Do I believe that this platform has potential to grow in the future? If it does, then that could be a really good investment. If it doesn't seem to have potential, then I'm probably gonna skip that investment because it's likely going to be worthless in the future. It might be really cool to have your own shop in the metaverse, but completely worthless if no one ever visits it. But on the other hand, if you do correctly identify a platform or a game that in the future is gonna blow up and be this huge game, and you buy a piece of metaverse land in that game right now, you could watch that piece of land skyrocket in value as the popularity of that game or platform skyrockets in the future. Imagine for someone who played Fortnite if somehow you were able to have bought like a space on the Fortnite island where you had your own little custom shop and you could sell your own little custom, Fortnite skins. If you're not familiar with what a Fortnite skin is, it's basically like an outfit that your character in the game can wear. Imagine if you could do that, how much money you could make. And maybe you have no idea how much money you could make because you're not familiar with the space. Well, to give you an idea, Fortnite made around $2.4 billion last year as a free game selling primarily cosmetic items like skins. So owning something like a small space or a small shop on the Fortnite island would be life-changing for whoever owned it, likely bringing in tens of millions of dollars annually. And that's the exact kind of opportunity I've been looking for in this space, where I'm looking for digital land or digital rights that allow me to own a piece of a potentially really popular game or platform in the future. Because of all that, I've been keeping a really close eye on the play to earn space, and among all the different play to earn games in the crypto space that are kind of competing for people's attention, there has been one game that has kind of been set apart and really risen to the top of the space, and that's a game called Big Time. Big Time is a crypto play to earn game created by an all-star team of developers. There's developers from Fortnite, Zynga, EA, Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, Gears of War, Overwatch, League of Legends, World of Warcraft, and more. And if you haven't heard of some of those games, those are essentially some of the most popular video games out there today. Meaning the developers behind this project are not just high quality, but they are like AAA platinum high quality, coming from some of the biggest and most successful games in the industry. And the founder of Big Time is actually one of the founders of Decentraland, which in the crypto side of things is one of the more popular metaverse type projects in the crypto space. And with an insane all-star team like that, I really felt like this game had the potential to be a mega hit in the crypto play to earn space. Big Time describes itself as an action RPG where you team up with friends to fight across time and space. In the game, they have different class types, they have different NFT weapons you can earn, and they have their own version of Metaverse land that they call space. They describe space as a personal area that you can share with friends that gives you unique benefits and utility while you're playing the game. It allows you to upgrade your items. And as far as I know, actually the only way you can go out and earn some of their Big Time crypto token is via owning some space. And it's worth pointing out that they're not doing any sort of pre-sale on their token or anything like that. So the only way anyone's gonna be able to get access to their token is by owning some space and then doing whatever it is you need to do to go out and get this token. They've also stated that Big Time space is gonna be insanely rare and difficult to get. So when they announced they were having a pre-sale for their Metaverse land, I got really excited and thought it would be the perfect opportunity for me to buy my first piece of Metaverse land, and hopefully I'd be buying something that would potentially be way more valuable in the future. And my thought was, with the game not even being out yet, worst case, if I really wanted to sell my land, when the game actually was, releasing, I'm sure, the price of space would skyrocket and go way higher. So that would also be an opportunity for me to sell my land if I needed to sell it at that point. They released a list of the different types of land you were going to be able to buy. They had exalted tier, they had mythic, legendary, epic, and then they had rare. Obviously, I had my sights set on the exalted tier because it was the rarest and the hardest to get in the game, so the idea would be that it would be worth the most. But just to buy during pre-sale, the large piece of exalted space was gonna cost me $3,300. Even knowing that, I decided it would still likely be worth it because I was just betting on this game being super popular once it actually comes out, so I decided to go for it. Now, just as a quick side note, I had already previously tried to buy the VIP passes for this game. They were selling VIP passes that allowed you to get early access to the game, and basically what had happened is I had my money lined up, I had everything ready to actually buy it. I was there at the time of launch, but as soon as it launched, the entire site went down. I spent like 30 minutes trying to even just log in to the site to, buy one, and by the time I was able to actually get logged in, all of them had been sold out and I wasn't able to get one. A lot of people were really disappointed by this, and they said that they had gotten more traffic than they had expected, but then when they did the pre-sale for space, that they were going to be fixing all that so that that wasn't going to be an issue when the actual pre-sale launched for space, and their site would be able to handle it, and there would be more than enough space to go around so that people could buy some, and it wasn't going to be an issue. About an hour before the pre-sale started, I sent some money over to my account. The deposit said it took around 5 minutes, so I figured this was just being super cautious, considering I just didn't want to deal with any last second issues with the deposit not coming in or anything like that. I waited 5 minutes, refreshed the page, and my money hadn't quite shown up yet. I figured it was just going maybe a little bit slow because maybe some other people were sending money into their accounts as well. So I waited another 10 minutes and still didn't show up, and then another 15, and then another 20, and then another 25, and then another 30. And then by the time I had waited 40 minutes, my deposit still hadn't showed up. And by this point, I was getting a little nervous. I had thought, sending it an hour before launch was more than enough time, but now here we were 40 minutes later and my deposit still hadn't showed up. I checked their Discord and found that there was a lot of people that were experiencing slow deposits when it came to getting their money on the platform. And this was making me really nervous with so many other people trying to deposit their money at the same time. I was getting nervous that maybe I wouldn't have my money ready for the actual launch and I'd miss out on the entire thing. I waited another 5 minutes, then another 10 minutes, and then finally, 3 minutes before launch, my funds deposited onto my account and I was ready to go. I waited in front of my computer, planning to refresh at the exact moment that the pre-sale opened so that I would be one of the first people in. I could snag that, exalted piece of land, and then maybe I'd snag like a mythic medium or something like that as well. It got down to the last few seconds and I clicked refresh, but my page wouldn't load. I waited a few minutes and then I clicked refresh again and still my page wouldn't load. I tried to be patient. I tried not to touch anything and I just kind of let the page kind of do its thing. And then after about a minute, the page loaded and it had logged me out of my account. I then spent literally the next 30 minutes trying just to log back into my account, but the login screen wouldn't fully load, or every time I'd input it, the next screen wouldn't load. And I was looking in the Discord and I was seeing people saying that they were all sold out and there was nothing left and I had missed it. And I started to get really frustrated because it was looking like I wasn't gonna be able to even get any piece of land. I kept refreshing my screen, I kept trying to log in, but nothing I was doing was working. Finally, I was able to get logged in. I went to the pre-sale page and Exalted was completely sold out. I was super bummed. It was super frustrating that the site wasn't working, but I saw that there was still some mythic tier land left, so I went to the mythic large and I tried to place an order. I got through a few of the different steps to actually buy this piece of land, and as I was getting towards the end of the buying process, the page froze, and when I refreshed it, I was logged out again. I tried logging back in over and over and over again, but it was again the same thing as before, where it wouldn't work and it wouldn't actually log me in. By this time, I'd spent around an hour trying to buy a stupid NFT, Metaverse, piece of land, and I was so frustrated and so annoyed that I was just done with all of this. Like, if it gave me some perspective of like, you know what, this just isn't worth it. This is the stupidest thing that I've ever done, and big time stupid, and everyone who designed their website stupid, and whoever designed their stupid Twitter messages that said, oh, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be way different this time, guys, we got this, they're stupid. I was literally so frustrated at all of them because I was like, you know what, like, I'm a peaceful guy, I'm a nice guy, but I was not feeling nice during this whole process. Finally, I was just kind of fed up. I decided to just walk away, to just go out of my office. And after 10 minutes, I came back to see if maybe anything had changed. I was able to log in 10 minutes later, but when I looked on there, the mythic space had completely sold out, and I couldn't tell if I'd actually been able to buy some or if I hadn't bought some. It wasn't really loading on my account, but I had less money in my account. So I wasn't really sure what that was about. But I decided to try to buy maybe some other land. I did see that the legendary small piece of space was available, and I tried to buy that, and I was able to successfully buy a piece. And I was so excited that I'd actually bought something that I ended up buying like a couple more pieces of legendary small, and I even bought an epic medium. And at this point, I'd spent around 2 hours trying to buy some space, and I was just done. I didn't want to even try to do anything anymore, so I shut off my computer, walked away, and waited to the next day. The next day, I logged into my account to see if I had indeed actually gotten the mythic large piece of space. And when I logged in and checked my account, I had actually gotten far enough in the buying process to have purchased it. It was sitting in my account, and I was so excited that I at least got something. I was bummed when I checked like the aftermarket marketplace and I could see that Exalted, where I could have bought it for $3,200, was now selling for like 20 grand. And it was just kind of dumb. But in the end, I was able to get 1 mythic large, 4 legendary small, and 1 epic medium. It cost me $5,396 to buy all those pieces of land. And today, the total value of all that land is $10,216. So far my land is appreciated in value, but I still believe that the biggest value appreciations in the future when, you know, the game actually launches and there's a higher demand for this space in the game, so because people are actually wanting to use it when they're playing. It was a really interesting first experiment, and I'm definitely gonna be keeping my eyes open for other great projects where I can jump in, buy a piece of land, and potentially flip it later down the line. For anyone interested in buying their own piece of space, you can still go and actually buy them on the aftermarket. You have to go to Big Time's website, go to their marketplace, and the land is available at aftermarket prices. You're gonna have to kind of determine if you think that's worth it or not. I mean, I think it's gonna go up in value when it actually launches, but I mean, I don't actually know if it's gonna go up in value or not. So you're gonna have to do your own research and kind of determine if that makes sense for you. Obviously, none of this is investment advice, and I just literally said to do your own research, so make sure you do your own research. If this video is helpful, make sure to hit that like button. If you have any questions or comments, or if you have any other rad like land sales that are coming up, let me know in the comments below. And if you wanna see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and you gotta hit the little bell next to it if you wanna actually be notified each time I release a video. If you don't actually hit the little bell, you'll never be notified when I release videos, and you'll just have to like go to my channel and find my videos when I release them. So if you want to actually be notified, make sure to hit that bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.